my glows like a wave in the sky. Drop that layout, flex that grid. Colors roll smooth like the tide we slid. We wire it clean, we bind it tight. Every gesture feeling just right. Prism routes and the views all play. We jam the build till the bugs go stay. On the net Maui beach we ride that flow. Pixel shimmer where the trade winds blow. Swipe to the left, tap to the right. Code with the law all day, all night. Push the hoop.
Hello all you XAML surfers, welcome to .NET Maui Beach, where the XAML flows like glassy waves on the South Shore. Today we're diving into XAML debugging with some pro tips that put you back on top when you're getting pounded by the IDE. But you don't have to get thrashed like that, brah. I have a .NET Maui app with some simple MVVM pages stacked up with plenty of reefs for us to get hung up on. So grab your boards, it's time to get wet. Surf's up. So we've got this XAML, and it does indeed still have this mistake, and I'm going to just push this over to the side a little bit so we can tell the difference between these two windows. The one here with the yellow around it, that is the actual
that's the app.
running, that's the running app. Yeah, that's
program.
the running app. And then this thing over here is sort of a WYSIWYG. I say sort of, very loosely, right? But
Yeah.
it gives you a visual representation, and you're supposed to be able to hover over it and find everything. It gives you information, but this is also with the layering of what's there, right? So I think what I've got here, because it doesn't light up all the content I had there. However, when I go over here to this live visual tree, and usually you get there by searching for it, you'll see the live visual tree there.
Yeah.
I can post the hotkey for it a little later, but you're going to get used to opening this. It's up in my window, normal window layout that I have saved, so I don't have to turn it on. Normally it comes up every time I go into debug. So I can see though, when I pop app, I drill in, the very next thing is page root. Let's see, when I hover over it, it shows me highlighted the entire page root. Right, so I can use this hovering over here, where hovering over this did not give me a lot of information. This is very granular over here. So top bar root, see? Look, it stops. All our content stops at top bar root. Interesting. Okay, when I go to the content root and I hover over it, it also only is in that top section. So I think I remember right before I saved all this to GitHub, maybe attempting to add a top bar that I ended up not using. Let's see. When I touch over here, I can jump to any one of these things. So I know that the layout grid, it's full page. The next thing I see that's not full page is this thing. And if I touch on those two little arrows, he jumps there. So
this
looks, line 21. Go ahead.
Yeah, that looks like the same thing as it's an accessibility inspector is what it is on a MacBook, on a Mac.
It's and the same elements.
It'll step through. Yeah, it shows all the elements. So like if you're using a screen reader, if you turn that on your phone and you start swiping, it'll jump and just start stepping through, element one.
It tries to read it. Yeah, that's what it sees, right? And unless you told it not to read this, it's going to read it all, right? So essentially for that, you need to opt out. Is that right? Of things that you don't want read?
And you have to, man, it's a beast on its own. Like it
well,
is.
That sounds like a great episode of .NET Maui Beach. We'll bring you back and we'll do that in .NET Maui. I know that .NET Maui has from the core a lot of accessibility built in, and also extension points, right? So
Xamarin was not good with it, and it's a beast all on its own. It's like you could do many classes on it.
The default template I know has a semantic reader already on the default template, so it's they're trying to put it right up there at your fingertips, and that plus little chat GPT, there's really no excuse for anybody to go without, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
I think I
Yeah.
figured out here that this thing is just crammed in this one grid row, right? And so as I, debugging this XAML, I discovered that, the clue was in Visual Tree. By hovering, I could jump to the suspect. And in this case, the suspect I expect to be seen, and it's not. It's hidden. Oh, well, it's sort of there. It's crammed in this hole. He does not have a grid specification on it. And I really was only dealing with one because I backed off of that. I didn't put the toolbar in there, but his row definition is there. See this? In fact, another clue is, see, this layout is not right. And the XAML, this should be the other way around, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
I inserted that row 50, right? And that's what blew this up, because now it's trying to put this grid in row 50. And it is. It's just not what we expected. So now if I give this guy a grid, row 1, now he should instantly pop in there to see, does he work? Does he work? Does he work? Tab over here. Well, what? Oh, put it in the wrong one. I just labeled the top bar root there. So I don't know if you've used this or not, but there's a hotkey where you hold the Alt down and you use the arrow keys, and it will move a line within the thing.
Yeah.
So I can bop that guy down to where he's supposed to be, and magically delicious. Come on. What's wrong with that? He doesn't like that content root. Has the grid. He's in row 1. Height this.
It should take all the room it needs.
Look. It drew it. You know what? I don't know. Let's hit a refresh. Anytime Visual Studio is giving me something real surprising like that, I give it a refresh. That's part of my voodoo, is not to trust it too much. It helps me not walk past solutions. That's one of the things, for better or worse, that .NET MAUI and working with XAML will entice you to do. Hot reload is not always 100%. So if you've been editing on the fly, before you go very far, go ahead and do just a restart from the toolbar is the fastest, the little circle. So this one right here. Let's see. Is it right here? Ah, yes. And see, it was lying to me. It was lying to me. And so, a little bit of trust but verify is a good thing in .NET MAUI. And so those two things taken into account, I didn't exactly plan all that, but it's really good learning on XAML debugging techniques. So I suppose, did you have any questions about what we accidentally ran through there?
No.
And we're going to just jump in here, and it's kind of just a little model here that we can break a few things in ways that we know, and then see how we would have discovered that pretty quickly. And this will go without a lot of pain points, because we kind of know where they're coming from. Now, one thing that we have here, when I change this here, we get, I need to make this just a bit taller. Whoop. Just a bit taller. There we go. All right. So we have the surfer's name down here happens to be just bound to the same thing in the view model. So what we're expressing is that this binding here works, and this one down here also works, right? So it's a two-way binding up top. I can say Lathan, and I get the surfer's name is Lathan down there. Nothing too complicated or whatever. What we're not so much interested is in the application. We're really interested in what it looks like when a binding breaks, right? So we can go simply over here, and that's why I showed us that thing first, is when we go to the XAML Live preview. I don't know why that got zoomed in funny. Let's see, let's tell it to go to 100% bit width. There we go. Okay. So some pages it'll do pretty good, especially when you don't have a problem, right? you can use this hover directly over the XAML Live previewer. If I was having trouble, if this didn't highlight for me right here when I select over Lathan, I definitely would just drill into those elements until I found him. It's very good for if there's a surprise, but the XAML Live preview is getting very, very good at being as close to a WYSIWYG representation as they can reach. So I'm going to touch that. It jumps over to the entry that holds that binding. And right now it says surfer name, but I know, because I set this up on purpose so that we could see some failures, right, that I don't have the binding context set. There's a way that you can tell yourself in the code here so that the IntelliSense will work, but it doesn't work by default. You have to tell it. And so I'm going to show you what happens if you forget to tell it and you let it be late bound and it doesn't work. So we just take that E, hit save, no problem. I don't care, surf's up. But now I tab over here to that very same thing and I can tell it, first of all, oh, notice it lost its value. It no longer says Lathan, but down there it says Lathan. That's because the view model in the background, he did not forget. We lost our binding in one place or the other, and that tells us something about where the binding failed, right? So first of all, it didn't have anything. So you would come in here and you're like, realistically, you would come in here and not notice that it didn't say the surfer's name at first. You would type the thing and you're like, it's not changing. It's not changing. It doesn't. It used to change. Last scrum it changed. It's not changing now. What do we do? So the way you would know is use your XAML Live Peer Reviewer to at least jump there, right? Because you know that it's not displaying. First thing is you got to look to see if it has a binding. Come here, and if you notice, there's a little triple dot. I do not know why that does not show up as a build error by default, but it does not. Buyer beware. Okay, so what we don't know. Let's say that it's not shortcutted or what do you call it? An abbreviation, right? Sometimes you might have the abbreviation there. It seems spelled just right. It's used just like that in 50 different places in the app. But right now, it's wrong compared to what's a view model property that he's looking for because he's got a triple dot on there. And if you says no issues found, he's a liar. So I'll show you a little more about how to run onto these automatically, but it's most important that when you have forgotten all the convention and you run into it, this is what it looks like. So you get that. You hover over it. Now it says it's not in the thing. It's got a potential fix. He'll add just a hanging property that's not set up for notifications. It's really not ready. So don't do that little fix there. But what it's telling you is that this doesn't match. So we know because it used to work. Maybe the word changed back there. I don't know. But we need IntelliSense because look at this. It's not giving us any IntelliSense. Well, I'm wrong. Why did that get Intel? Oh. Let's see. It gave me IntelliSense. Why did it give me IntelliSense? They're improving things all the time. It may now have an implied IntelliSense. Let's see. Home. Oh, okay, hang on. Let me kind of scrolled in for me. We're looking for a data type. Is a data type set anywhere? Oh, here. I need to crunch this up. We got to get enough room here. There we go. Okay. Not yet. Not yet. We're scrolling up gently. There we go. I forgot to remove that for the demo. Okay. So what normally occurs, let's take this out for a moment.
Oh, I saw that red and unbinding. I assumed it was gone.
No, so take that right there and I scroll down there and he knew that name was wrong, but let's see. So go down here, here. Also, I have a hotkey that takes me back where I used to be. This little blue arrow with a circle around it. Think of it like in a meeting. Circle back, y'all. Circle back, circle back. And so I have a hotkey for these little arrows, and you don't have to remember where you were. It'll pop you back through your selections locations that you've been in the last whatever. It does forget when you go. I mean, it doesn't handle branching, but but yeah, he'll find the stuff. So with that being the case, now it's not set up there. Okay, when the data type is not set, you don't have any IntelliSense. It will not complain at all. I don't get a triple dot even now. Doesn't show you at all. So now at this point, you might have jumped there, seen that it's not working. I see the path. It doesn't give me IntelliSense. Aha, I don't have the binding context. In this case, we expect that to be on the view model. I don't know if you're using MVVM, but anyone who's not, we don't have time to teach that right now, but that's absolutely something that you ought to do. It gives us a place to have one version of the truth for our application page. So that one version of truth for us is the binding basics page view model that goes with this. So now that being there, we get two things. Now when we go to that, we see that misspelled, it gives us the triple dot. Spelled properly, it does not. And when we hit a letter, we get IntelliSense. We can browse for every property that is on that view model. And in fact, compound properties like, say, I don't know, let's see, active surfer, you get IntelliSense deep, deep, deep. Yep. So, and if you're not, that's another pro tip for XAML debugging. If it's not in your IntelliSense, stop. Go ahead and stop. It might be right, but later when you're debugging it, you're not going to know. You're going to have doubt. And the one thing that speeds things up is confidence. Not just blind confidence, but confidence because you have the data types set. You see the IntelliSense. You can set a breakpoint, and we'll move on to the pieces that we show there. So let's set that back to the right guy. Okay. And let's see. I think I saw, like you did, a couple of triple dots that might be up here. No, that they went there when I parked.
Yeah,
this.
after you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So looks like we're good to go, and we really don't have any issues. You know what? Does he tell me I have any issues down here? No, he's still a liar. Still a liar. Can't trust that. All right. So there we go. All set. Should now do the thing again, and we are in Windows. So all that editing might fly, and it might not. Oh, see, says stuff child context. It freaked out. It freaked out pretty. Some things hot reload really doesn't pick up on, and changing binding things a lot. It messed us up. It just said, I don't know. I have a reference to some surfer name.
Oh,
right?
I see it now. Yeah.
Yeah. And so if you start seeing things that look like code in the UI, that's a number one tip off. It's time to hit that restart button there and get a quick restart on it. Let's see. So the point we've fixed the binding. We've noticed that IntelliSense comes as a promise that you make to yourself about what that binding context is. That actually is just UI, IDE, sugar, because at some level, if you lie to yourself and you tell it it's not that view model, it's some other class, your XAML is going to say it's right because you're promising for that page there that this is right. And so one of the other common bugs is to have the wrong binding context, maybe even one that has all the same properties on it for the things that you care about, and yet still it's the wrong one. And so those bindings will fail not at design time, they will fail in release time. So that will show a little bit about where that comes from too. In fact, let's see. Maybe that's a good time right now to actually just segue to that one. We have that page came back up. You can go back to the binding basics page. I still don't have something right here. Okay, let's fix it. All right, page root binding basics page. Drill into that. Oh, XAML Live Previewer. Probably get me there. All right. Okay. They have some problems with their with their zoom there. So there we go. Okay. Jump to that entry.
Hey, telling it that.
Oh, I undid that mistake. I was showing, wait, hang on. That's XAML surfer name. Let's jump back. Hang on. It's back. That border
Scroll up.
with this label.
Scroll over and it's there.
So text page root. Why would he want the page root with the binding? Oh, you know what? Maybe we didn't read through that anyway. I don't know, but it's wrong. Let's just make it right. I don't know. Let's see. I didn't notice if that was sitting down there when I ran the thing or not. Very likely. Like I said, I did break this thing a lot of different ways as I was practicing for this. So might have done my job a little too well there. Let's see. So okay. Here's another good thing to point out in XAML. If you see the word path equals, you'd like to not use that. It does not give you IntelliSense. That means it's going to be lake bound.
Really?
So if you do like this, and you just make the one that would be the path be the first one in your binding syntax, then that's going to guarantee that when the IntelliSense works for that guy, that he's right. So now we know that, and this, I don't know, the string format is trying to do here. We just have he wanted the name.
Yeah.
We're just talking about the name. So I don't know what the heck that was. All right. So I did ask ChatGPT to break some of these for me. As I was, I wanted to be like somebody just throwing things at me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I may have more bugs to fix than I thought. Let's see. So we wanted the name off of that. It's simple. There you go. No problem. And now, look at there. Coach Alana. Good deal. And Kiani, everything's A-okay. Our next section we're going to go through is about losing your binding context or having a surprising binding context that's not what you expect, and how to quickly find that and how you would have known even that that's the problem. So let's jump over to that page, and basically we just have some buttons that are connected to some commands through some bindings, and then of course you can see some bound values that are similar to the first page, just connected to the back end there. But our main consideration is that each one of these have to connect to their correct binding context. And if you are just on the page, or if you're on an item of a list view or collection view, it's different how they get their binding context. And then sometimes you might need something that actually connects to not the view model, which is the default, but to the page itself. Maybe has a value or another control or something else. And in those cases, it's sometimes a little hard to craft the binding statement. And so having these tools to debug them, will take you there when you need it. So the main thing that happens all the time to all levels of developers is my button is not clicking. And this button here clicks. It just did its thing, pop that open up and closed. However, if I go over here, let's break that the most common way. It's just misspelled. All right. No click, no click. So the number one first thing is to make sure you're using your data type, right? And that's going to give you the first level of knowledge that thing has changed. Now, usually what will happen is this part will be right, and somebody changed the name in the view model. And, it's a string value here. And so when they only did a C# rename, it will not change it here. And so very common. All I can say is try to make sure that any of the change, anytime you do a change on anything that actually you think could be XAML oriented, like a public property on a view model or notify property supporting class, do a little string search on the whole app and see if it's breaking something.
Are you able to do a update the references? It doesn't, like, there's not something like that in Visual Studio.
Perfect question. So if you go here, this is another benefit of Visual Studio XAML Designer. You can right click on anything pretty much and go to definition. Right. So this is going to take me to the toggle signal command. If I go to that definition now, MVVM is a little bit down the rabbit hole depending upon how you have these set up, right? Because the command is not where the work is. Now, generally what I do is I set the command next to its definition, next to the work right there, and next to his can execute in just big pile. That way I can copy and paste and modify. I'm showing you what it probably looks like in your project. Because if ChatGPT helped you out or anybody else wrote it, that's probably not their default. They'll separate the commands from the work, in a clean separation. Personally, I would say you lump the single responsibility and then you keep them clean. But, it's just a matter of abstractness there. But what you do is you jump there by go to definition, and then the one reference is going to be where it's assigned to its work. So I can jump there, and here's the work. I go to definition here, right? So now, just for giggles, I'm going to pull this back to what I would do, because it took me to here. I'm going to take this now, the first time I see that, and I use that circle back hotkey I got, and I just bounce my, see, it thinks it's, because it's not there, it's on my clipboard, right? I bounce back again, go to definition here. It'll take me to this part. I just paste that right there. There you go. Now, guess how far I have to look next time? Not at all.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
It's just personal preference, but I mean, if I'm there, I'm going to move it. And really that brings up the thing is, if I'm in here, I'm cleaning up, I'm going to rename something, right? And so toggle signal command. What signal? Who signal, right? So let's say toggle popover signal. And it's not a signal. It's a visibility. Command. Yeah, okay. Let's see, I press the enter key on that. This is where, see, I would do this and then I'll go, oh, wait. Escape once. I'm going to put this on my clipboard first.
Yeah.
Because I'm fixing to do something with it, right? So then, yeah, use the rename that's there and say toggle pop over. Is it pop over or all lower?
Visual.
Over, pop over, visual, visibility. There you go. Command. Yeah. So now that changed in all the C# in all the definitions, but it did not change the strings that are in XAML. So that's where then I double click on this and I Control-Shift-H. That's the thing for rename. And I immediately go in here and I'm like, find them. I'm in the replace. I can paste right now my thing. Usually I'm not going to hit go because I'm paranoid like that. I'm going to hit the find and see how many of these things are all over the place. See how much I'm going to have to stand on this PR. But that just has a couple of places. Let's see, in the view model. Why is that not let find it?
You got them backwards.
Oh, yep, you're right. Yep. So now I got to take this. Okay, Control.
Paste at the end and copy and paste.
I'm trying to think of the easy way to do that. Oh, the search thing is going to still be there. All right. So I can go see there, go find this one. Yeah. And then find those. And then I go over here to replace. And I can pull that back off of here, maybe. Oh, it's right there in front of me. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the XAML, that's seen as a string. It's not an actual call to the property. It's just a reference to the string in the class.
What happens is it's because XAML is a processor sugar. It's a declarative thing that gets rendered into C# objects. It's the declarative var this, var that, var this, var that. That's really what XAML is. And in fact, actually, you can instantiate dang near anything in XAML by just pulling the namespace in there. Yeah, man, you can do amazing stuff. I've got another show I'd like to do called .NET Fusion Max, where we take libraries and things that nobody ever thought could pour together, just a little bit of code chemistry and things that I don't know that I support doing, but I'll show you that it works. So yeah, and so I mean, we can reach into that a little more later. So in this case, we've got the command, and now I'm renaming him to the, I don't know, the more verbose thing, and I only have the one case, happens to be in the one piece of XAML, so I'm not gonna blow things up. It's one of those things, if you're debugging, that's good to, not just fix it in the page that you're in. Maybe that thing happened in several pages or in a control, I don't know. But that way you get those. So here's where that circle back key works again. See, we've kind of run off the rails into another thing. Now I can hit this back, and it will take me right to that XAML source code right there. And now, see, does he figure it out? He ought to be. Why has he got triple dots on him? Uh-oh. See, oh, did I say, how did I spell it? Might be a capital thing off. Let's see. Toggle.
Maybe toggle pop over.
Oh, we're still running. Okay. This is one of those, this is perfect. We were still running. And so although hot reloads XAML on the fly, unless you hit and I probably could have done it, it doesn't work that well in individual platforms. I'll let you decide whether you like to use it or not. But there is a little fire icon that when you hit that will ask the C# to reload itself. Best thing though, if you're really a developer wants to know that it's going to be working when you hit it again, is just to hit that little restart loop there. And so now it will pick up. In fact, it's probably going to complain to me. Let's see, circle back. There we go. So yeah, see, now that's got that triple dot, but if I put the E, he sees the IntelliSense picks up the whole thing now.
So the IntelliSense didn't pick it up just because it was running?
In fact, actually, that C# in this case, for us, when I changed the XAML based on the string replace, right, that we knew, and it's correct. It acted like it did not have the right IntelliSense because, in fact, the C# object that it was currently bound to at that time was not the new one. So when we hit the rebuild, that refresh, it gives the compiler a chance and therefore the IntelliSense a chance. And so that's where watching the IntelliSense will give you a clue as to whether you need to hit the refresh, not trust it, give it a restart, you know what I'm saying, is because those things, I mean, they're kind of inherent with this live updating methodology that goes on. They're getting better and better at finding the edge cases and coding through them at the IDE level, but yeah, truly watch it and see if it seems wonky, give that guy another chance at it. So let's see, what did we get there? One fail. Oh, that's because let's see. What did I do? It's possible that I actually coded an error just then, and we'll see what happened there. But
looks like it ran. It should be running.
Yeah, you'll accept my skepticism when it, kind of kicks back at me the first time. So looks like there is usually some motion down here on the bottom bar. They have been changing that. I guess. It's not giving me any feedback about that running, but I should be able to click the output window and see. Yep, there it goes. It's still spewing. There we go. Yep, he's live. And now binding context lost. And now when we touch this, he's back with our renamed command. The collection view item template, that's probably the next most important thing to note, point out, and show that fix there when you hit, let's see, let's do it with the, let's do it with the live preview. I can't go to, there's a thing in the lower left-hand corner there that lets you fit the width. Usually it did that automatically. It's not doing that now. So anyway, hover over this, and we notice this this section here that has 3 items in it. Those are each a separate item template. And then the button, it's like on the header, I think. Let's click and find out. Is he? No, he's outside the collection view. So that binding shuffle readings command is just like the other button, points simply back to the view model, right? And the collection view item template, though, this one, everything inside of here, this is like a repeater, right? It's gonna, you get 1 copy of these for each one of those items, right? But how does it hook a binding, right, to that item, and at the same time maybe need to reach to the view model, right? So sometimes you'll have a binding like this. Notice it says location, and in fact, its IntelliSense is there. Its IntelliSense is there because we promised it the correct data type here at this, we call it wave reading. I don't know, we made up some data. So it's like what the waves were at a particular place on the beach, right? So this right here, this data type, that's our item type, right? And so we've said for each item, that's your default data type, that you're going to be hooked up to without anything fancy. And that's how that works. The default one shouldn't make you do anything special, right? But if we wanted to have, say, just temporarily, let's say the text on this one was pointed up at the active surfer's name. I don't care. We're going to repeat it on every one of these for some reason, arbitrarily, right? So to reach up to that guy, we're going to hit a source first equals sources are objects, so they have curlies. They have their own curlies. That's how you know if you should put something in a curly there, is because, it's going to crash. It's not going to like this. There we go, X reference. Okay, so we can point to, let's see, control home. This is the page itself. I always name the page a standard name, page root. So if I go back down here, reference page, and he won't show up because it's a reference page root. What? Root, the other root. Okay, reference equals root, comma, and then it should be, let's see, path. Now you could say path there, but like I said, you want to do on this other side, put the comma in there, and now my IntelliSense should be there. Page root, why is he complaining? Oh, he's got an extra curly. There we go. Okay. Now, was that for on the page root, say title? He's got a,
Isn't it dot type?
Well, since it's a relative source, it's going to be late bound.
Oh, okay.
So then that's when you I don't think you actually have to specify a path. I think it still works, but you don't get IntelliSense on it.
Been a long time.
Yeah. So let's see if run that guy.
I remember when I first did that.
There's
having to bounce out of the collection view, like it
to get out to either the page or the And so this is I mean, there is an ancestor binding and relative source ancestor binding that will take you to that. I find that what's most reliable is to point to the page itself with a reference, with a named reference, which actually does compile because it's a control reference, right? And then ask for the binding context on that guy, and then bind off to whatever you need to, right?
Okay.
So that way, you're pointing to a known object that has a known type on it. And so the bindings are a little easier to chase if they aren't what you expect them to be. Let's see, when I crashed something. When did I crash? Or is it running? Maybe I just didn't press the button. I don't know. I have suspected that sometimes it just didn't take my press on that button the first time. That's kind of happened this time too. They can't come right up that time. Yeah, there we go. So there we go. Now we are back to binding context lost. And so we have, what did I bind that up to? Path title. Okay, so this title is now repeated. If you had that wrong, this reference here, Rudy Tooty, let's just say, right? Now, he's blank, right? And so that's how you would notice that source was blown, no matter whether it was to the wrong ancestor type, whatever. It's just blank. It doesn't show you anything, right? So there again, going right back to the XAML Live Previewer, if it will let you hover over it and find it. Let's go fit width. There we go. So that guy.
It looks like you actually got IntelliSense broken in XAML there.
Yeah. So
actually
this one, if it gives you it's trying to do XAML hot reload and it says my XAML didn't compile, right? Because I have each of these pages set to be compiled XAML, which is the default now. So it was able to kind of figure that one out on the fly. Sometimes that source though might be something that is laid down in a way that really doesn't show you at all. And or if it lets you sneak past it in debug, right, and it doesn't work in release, you kind of be in that same boat. So when you, either way, drilling into the thing and finding the element is the first step. And then what I typically do, if it's not a label, right? If it's not a label, then the first thing I'm going to do when a binding is not working is drop a label in its place and just put that binding there. If it's not working for a label, it's not going to work for the value on a slider. Sliders can have their not work for lots of reasons on min, max, and other stuff, give you surprising values. You could have a picker, you're right, and that picker seems like it's not displaying the thing. Well, maybe you have a blank option in your list, and that's ending up as the default. And even though you had a bound value on it, it's getting stomped on. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a label on there in its place and give that guy a shot. So there again, it's a great pro tip on that. To anytime something is going haywire, start with a label. If you think like this, it's blank, but you have the right thing, and maybe it would be working if it had a value. It's not white on white text or something else like that. The way I do it is I break the binding and make it visible by just taking the first curly off. Now it's just a string. It's not a binding. And so look at that, bringing the whole thing back. But bam. See, now it shows me what that binding was. So if you are wondering whether this thing is actually getting, if what I'm typing here, this binding is what should be showing up on this space on my page, breaking the binding by taking the first curly brace off is a pro tip that will take you a long way. And, just knowing that you have a hold of something is half the battle, right? Now, I've just proven that that value changes and it's updating live. You know, each of those things take you one step closer to that confidence that your problem is something else. Let's see. So when we pop that back on there, let's go with back to here. One of the other routes, like I said, that you might take would be to that binding context, right? So now what if we don't want to look at the title, but we know that we have an active surfer and the active surfer has a name? It's because we know and we looked it up, right? That we could go binding context, binding dot active surfer. I hope I'm spelling it right. Dot name. And I'm not. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. Let's got to take the Rudy Tooty off. Okay. All right. Now, do we have page root? I know that. You do too have page root. Page root.
Does the binding context need to be in squirrely
No,
brackets?
it's funny. Let's just see. If we went to title, oh, here, let's go back to this one that we did work, right? I'm gonna cut that off, right, and stack it up slow. See, now we know that worked.
Yeah.
There again, don't trust the thing too much. I hit the reset, and it should come back pretty quick here. I'm watching you, see if you make me press it twice this time. Uh-huh. Look at that. It came back and it did not run it the first time. Okay.
It's weird.
So we found a bug in Insiders 2026. I'm sure they'll figure that out. Well, I say that. Either that or I really broke something. What's the output say? Debug Windows. What is it? There's my output. Output. It's exited with
code. I hate those.
Just in code. Huh. Well, here, let's just. What did I do?
Here we go. Debugging on the fly.
Yep. Source equals. Okay, well, here's the next thing that you do. The first thing you do is park that thing. You have to pull it outside the tag, and then Control K, Control C will park that guy, right? So now I know it ain't that binding holding it up. This is when you find out whether or not you should clean the bin and obj folders, and give it a harder restart. Yes, it came right up. Okay.
That's strange that would break.
Okay, what? Maybe is it page root? What did I mess up about this binding here?
I've never had something like that break it so bad.
It's page root. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, back. Circle back. Y'all. Circle back. Y'all. Okay, there we are. Scroll over here just a little bit. Okay. So now let's unpack him. Control KU. Put him back in there on the fly. He's not squiggling now. So that was probably nothing. Now that we have not gone to the page yet, so it will render the page as if it went there from scratch. Oh, now he's got a source equal. So he did not find. Why would he not find X reference page? What does he think?
It's so strange that it's breaking.
Yeah, why would page root not be my X reference when? Oh, I'm stupid. Maybe. Let's see. I'm in a data template. No, a reference should work. Okay.
No,
So,
reference should, because you're on that page in that XAML.
okay, let's assume that maybe .NET 10 is trying to tell us to do this a better way, right? Let's see. He's got. Wait a minute. Yeah, see, because he's suggesting that we use the other, like I was saying before, is not all that reliable. He's suggesting that we use the relative source. I'll let him type it. But he always messes that up. I don't know why he puts the word relative in front of that, but he does. You take that off of there. That now it's proper syntax. Let's check him though. And relative source with the ancestor type being content page, which means he will look up until he finds an object that is content page, and that's the object. Then
that's what that is.
Yeah,
it just steps up until it finds content page.
Yeah, and this binding is wrong though. If you wanted title, he's found the page, and that's the way that works. It looks up until it finds the page, because the view model is not part of the tree, right? And it's looking up the visual tree. So it has to find that guy, and he says, oh, your binding context or whatnot. So this one should work just a title. Let's baby step it. Baby stepping is another crucial part of dealing with XAML.
That's how that works. When it's ancestor type like that, it just looks through all the elements that are there.
If you wanted to find the first grid above you, find the first outer container of me that is a grid, it'll do that.
Really?
Yeah. Like most importantly, probably people use it to find, like, I'm in a custom control that I've written, right? And I need to know not the page. I need to know the thing that is my wrapper, my control, my custom search bar, my whatever, right? And so it looks up until it finds the parent type that is your control type, and then it can grab the binding context stuff of that.
Really?
Yeah. So let's see.
Interesting.
And I blew something else up too, probably. What does he say? Back here, it's not a change. He's just escape. I'll tab you. That's still not the thing. All right. So what did now here? Oh no, it's still running. So forget about that yet. Oh, he did. See, he lied to me. I was just about to walk past that. I mean, in an instant, but something told me I don't trust him. So there we go. He's running. And so I noticed that this circle back was still live. I was like, oh, it's running. That's lying to me over there. Okay, so binding context lost. Do we have? Yes, now we have the title. Okay, so now this binding works to the title. Scooch him over just far enough. And to the title with our relative source to the ancestor works, right? And so now if we wanted to get to the active surfer, we could go to the path would be binding context. Oh, the IntelliSense works now. Okay, so that's Visual Studio telling us that I do it the old way, to do it the new way, and they got it working. I learned something too. So there we go, binding context. And now binding context is an object. It's not going to give you further IntelliSense because it doesn't know the type, right? So beyond that. So now here we know though active CT active surfer, and we know name, and that guy's going to do it. Go to that object that was right here where you set your data type. You can jump to definition there. This now, if I roll this up with a control MO, it will show me all my properties that I have there, right? And one of these guys should be active surfer. Where's my active surfer? Active set. Oh, here, I can use my drop down to find him. Oh, that's because I don't have a thing called active surfer. I don't know what object that came off of.
Thought you did.
I hallucinated that. Okay, what we do have is we have our title, we have our let's see, where did he go? Breadcrumbs. Well, what did I save in there? The active set. I guess that's the active set has an active. I bet you that's it. Go to definition. Source set. Huh. You know, I'm interested now.
I thought you had.
I know. I did. In fact, let's see, binding basics page. Oh, I'm on a different page.
No.
I'm on a different page. Has different test data, different view model. My mistake.
Oh, was it in the first one? Yes, that was. That was in the first. Okay.
Yeah, my mistake.
I swore it was in there.
So in this case, we have a surf set and we have a name. Okay, there we go. And I didn't spend a lot of time with these samples once I wrote them. In fact, I wanted to have some mistakes, so it's working. So use my circle back and back. Now back again. There again, a surprising binding context, and that's how you do it. Go to definition, make sure those things are there. You know, if the IntelliSense is not working, sometimes like this, you would expect it not to work. But let's see, active set. And then we had, I didn't look at it. Do you remember one of the properties that were on that thing?
Name and coach, I know we're in there.
There we go. Let's say name. Let's see what we get there. Sunrise Reef. There we go. So that's true. Now that works just exactly how this path expected it to, right? But you can see how easily any piece of this being wrong, and you're going to be chasing this a little bit. And so one of the best ways to know that indeed you have a value, right, is to use this go to definition. And in this case, we know that the binding context is that object. Sometimes you might have a strongly typed object you jump to from right there. But we know we're targeting an active set and name, right? We could go up to this home, jump to his definition. We're live right now, right? I can go to this and actually go to the active set, and I should be, am I running? Yeah, I'm running. Active set, why do you, oh, we need to pause somehow, right? We need to be in a breakpoint, and it might do it just hitting the pause button, right? Let's see. Let me hover now. Come on, do it. Hey, I don't want to have to set a breakpoint just for this. Okay, it took me somewhere else, but I can use my circle back. Will this give me hover? No. Okay, I got to be in the context. All right. So F5, we'll continue on, and I'll show you how you do that. So we want to be able to examine all of the view model properties, right? So we have a command there. Pick any command that you have working, right? And hit your XAML previewer. Go to that button. Jump to that command. Go to definition. And I hope that it's not split like this, but it is. So we jump there and we jump there. Go to definition, go to definition. All right, so now we have the work right here. It's a good spot. So now, if I press this button, he'll stop there. I'm just in my view model anywhere, but now I can hover over active set and I can pop him open. I can see he is indeed Sunrise Reef. I can examine that data to see if it's really there. Sometimes maybe you had a blank there. It's bound fine, but it's just no data. Or this gets people a lot. You might have a couple properties and only one of them is populated. Like there's description and product string. Description's not filled out, product string is, and you could forgive a developer for using the one that makes sense, right? And then, but you come in, the object's not null, where to go? That's how you find out.
Optional. Yeah, that property's optional. Don't need it.
Well, a
Of
victim
course, it's
of
going to be null.
a victim of what do you call it? API drift. So that's how we dig in, and we can find one that's kind of hard. Right. Let's just say I put my breakpoint here. For some reason, it's not getting there. Seems like it should be getting there. It's not getting there. Most of the time, it's not getting there because your binding context on your button is not what you thought it was. Right. So somebody comes along and takes that button that was above the collection view, right, and says, we want that on every row. Guy comes in and takes a copy of that button. He says the button works. He puts it on the data template. Doesn't compile. I mean, doesn't throw any compile errors or anything. And you run the thing and you click the button, it doesn't go anywhere. And so it's a pretty common thing that the button got is for understandable reasons, right? That the command is no longer mapped. And it might be just that doesn't have a binding context on it because somebody left the data type off or the template. Those are conventions. It happens. So you got to be able to chase those down. And in this case, putting a breakpoint on the work is the first step. The second step, well, let me take that back. Step 0 is when you click through there to find the work in the first place. We jumped from the command to the command declaration to the work. So we made sure that that thing was getting declared and hooked up, right? And so that's how we find where to put the breakpoint in the first place. Once that guy gets locked in, then we're set for knowing that we have the right one. But if it still didn't get there, the thing to look for is, let me show you the next step. Now this one you got to hit the stop button for. What you want to do is go to that same button though. See the one that went to shuffle readings command. Go to this button and temporarily put a clicked. Let it create the event handler and just jump to it. Hopefully you have a name on your button and it won't just call it button 1 or button clicked or whatever, But if not, that would have been a good time to name that button. So go to that definition. And now here, we're going to take sender. We're going to cast it to the type sender as button bar. I call everything Fred until he's got a better name. So Fred as sender as button, and then we can examine that button most importantly for, I'm just going to assume that it is because I know the button's not null. Let's let him type that. He likes to type.
See,
I've
not done this stuff.
Yeah. So
this is interesting.
So we just say we don't want to change his text there. Did you see how much he's trying to type for me? So sometimes it's annoying. So let's see. We come in here though. Now we know he's not null, and we want to check his binding context, right? Because if the command ain't working, it's probably the binding context ain't what you thought it was. Binding context. Oh, the other way around. Bar. Oh, come on. Bar BC. I usually use lowercase. BC equals Fred.binding context. There we go. Yeah.
I've not done any of this. This is interesting.
So when you go KC on not KC, KF, format that guy. There we go. Okay. So now we want a breakpoint right here. Because now this happens before he goes and calls the command. And in fact, actually, if you had the binding context and then you go bar BC, let's do it like this. We know the type. Oh, no, we don't know the type. Never mind. We would go var, let's say capital BC equals Fred dot binding context. as what do we think it is? We think it's the binding loss page view model, right? Well, what if he wasn't that? That would be the surprise, right? If he's not that, he's something else. The page, whatever, the item type. You know, if he ended up on that item template, right? We'd come through here, and instead of seeing binding context lost, we'd see surfer set. I don't know, whatever that item type was, right? So let's see. Let's see what we get now when we run this.
So you said this runs before before it would run the
Command. Right.
Really? That's interesting.
It's depending upon the control manufacturer and the version. It's not 100% deterministic. It should be. Those are bugs when it's not.
Okay.
So everyone in any given project, and I don't suggest that we all become a Telerik tool manufacturer, but pretty much in every project, there's the need to make sure that you don't double tap, that there is a sound and or haptic input coming out of it, whatever accessibility that product uses, not a bunch of extra stuff, but just what they do. So there's a need for a custom button that fits every environment. And so, Teleriks and the component ones and all the component manufacturers, they do a lot of good work, and I'm definitely a rapid application developer. I do suggest that even if you wrap one of their buttons, that you do something to make a deterministic control that lets you cancel, give a different sound when you do cancel, reject the command without doing anything, and no sound, because sometimes you just want to disable the button. But whatever those environment things are, that should probably be something that you program in, I don't know. We should do the patterns rather than just can it and try to have a kitchen sink control, whether it's in the toolkit or wherever. It's just we're never going to get there without putting too much into that control. So that might be another episode if we do something on the. Mine is called Rich Button, the one that I kind of lump along and modify in different cases, but it's not always the same in any given environment. So this button clicked. Is it running yet? Oh no, it's doing that thing where it's fighting me here. All right, so do the output this time. No. What did you do? Okay. Let's see. Back. An event that has the wrong name that you're calling for in XAML will fail at compile time. If that doesn't exist, but this button click does exist. So, and the way I know is because I can right click on it and go to definition, and it takes me there. There's nothing that doesn't compile about this. There's no squeak. No, C# doesn't gimp up like that. If you see an error, it's an error. If you don't, it does. But all right, so I don't trust my Visual Studio. I'm gonna hit it one more time. If that doesn't work, then we're gonna clean the bin obj. You don't like it. He sure doesn't. Yeah. This sometimes also helps to clear the output window so you're sure that what you're seeing is something that's there. Really? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not liking it.
He spewed a whole bunch of stuff. Skip loading symbols. Just my code, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's just still build. It's down to... No, he just says he exited with the... Okay, so let's do this. Solution Explorer. Pop this open. Use this little icon here where I'm pointing to turn on all files, so it will show you where the hidden stuff is. And here's a bin, and here's an obj. Control click them, and just a plain delete on those guys. That's a clue. That's a clue. When you try to delete the bin obj folder and it says something is held by another process, that means something about your debug session didn't shut down right, and it can't clean itself, and so it's locked up. So that's exactly when you need to right-click your project, go to Open in File Explorer, hang on to that window, close your Visual Studio, and bin and OBJ will be right there. Oh, it let me, the obj is already gone. Okay, so here in this window, if you really want to go on Shift Delete, we'll bypass the recycle bin. Gone. Okay, so now should be able to just simply go back to Visual Studio.
Have you had to go in and delete your .vs folders because you lost them?
Not in a long time. Not in a long time.
Because you lose the autocomplete and all that.
Yeah, I don't even remember the last time that I had to go in and mess with those. I did try to copy a repo and I left them in there, and they caused me some confusion until I removed them from that copy. Of course, it recreated them and did the stuff right. Let's see. Oh, now I've got. Oh no. Okay, okay, because the bin was gone. The IntelliSense thinks those objects aren't there until it gets built. Okay, so one more time with feeling. Nothing wrong in there so far. Nothing wrong so far. I suppose I could look at the error list. It's gonna make a monkey out of me. Okay, so
we have to hit it again.
What in the world did I do? What could I have done that messed that up? Okay, well, when you're caught like that, the next thing you do is go. Let's see, now my circle back won't take me there. I got to go once to the thing. This is the binding context loss page. Get the XAML up. Okay, and we know we were at the shuffle readings.
Right there.
Let's see. Was it? This was the clicked right there. Thank you. And so now we know. We had a command, and I clicked. I don't see anything I did wrong there, but let's do this. Let's temporarily bop this off it here, because we know that's what we changed, right? And then save that guy. I shouldn't have to go over here and do the other thing either, but I'm going to do it anyway. Over here. I should do it this way. I should jump there first. Go to definition, comment this out, right? This is all that we did, right? If this is, and sometimes it won't be your fault. So it's good to back out what you did there. Okay, see. Okay, now we're parked.
Surely it'd build.
This is some of the things that I think have been missing from the content that is on LinkedIn, in that everyone's demo that they're showing is either edited to take the mistakes out, or right. And so they don't see what it is that a real senior developer has to deal with on a regular basis. And now that thing is, and they don't learn these in the wild techniques, and until they're out in the wild, right? So that came up just fine. Okay, so that's there. It was maybe a rebuild thing, or there's a real problem. Let's add them in there one thing at a time. So the simple thing is to use my circle back now, put this part back in, see if still like how it's declared or something. I mean, we let it create it, so
and it should
not exactly our fault, but you would think that this is a no change, right? We're not even calling it.
Well, even it's in C#, but that usually, if that's an issue, it screams it.
Yeah.
Usually, I'm not gonna say all the time.
Well, wouldn't it be cool if C# didn't let you actually have variables that were only separated by capitalization like VB.
Yeah, that. Oh, wow.
How do you say it out loud to your code assistant? Do you say capital C? I mean, do you say camel case this and then have it? So there's going to be a day where we really don't want that. Maybe, I don't know. So let's see. That came up just fine. So that's not it, right? Well, the XAML will hot reload. So I bet you if I just go just circle back one more time, will it take me back, or am I already too far back? Too far back. Okay, so jump to Solution Explorer, finding context lost page. I suppose I could have gone to live preview. Either way, I get there. There's the command. Here's my part. KU, Alt up, Control S, and it didn't freak yet. So now let's go to the page. Let's make sure my breakpoint's still there. It won't be because we what do you call it?
Uncommented it. So.
Oh, I don't want to peek. I want to jump there. There we go. There we go. So yeah, oh yeah, they got little peak things everywhere now too, so you can just like temporarily get at it. Okay, so there we're ready to jump to it now and see why that thing wouldn't come up. So we were talking about this button.
They jumped into the.
Look, you see what just happened right now. They're firing the command before they clicked. That's what I'm saying. It's been so non-determined, but it should. In the WPF world, back when it was Microsoft and there was Iron Fist saying how it's going to be, clicked happened before so that you could cancel it or you could do something else with it, right? So in the end, if you wanted that behavior now, you're going to have to actually get your binding context right in the clicked and then call the event, call the command from inside the clicked. And there's nothing that breaks MVVM about that, because the view can always know the type of his view model of his binding context. It's not, you're not supposed to go the other way. Well, actually, it's not dirty. That's actually how it works. When you declare that this command is there, your control, right, is going to pick up the gesture, which is normally mapped to the click, right? And so their code right now is async, and they're not making that deterministic. So it's just bets are off that it's bad control code. And so caveats.
Well, that's kind of how it is anyway.
Right. Well, right now, and it just has been that way, and that's what I'm saying. If you want everyone needs deterministic control over those buttons and canceling and sounds and stuff like that. That right now, there's a little bit left to you doing it yourself, and that's why I promote the idea of no matter what you're doing, bake in those pieces and your accessibility and the other things that are just needed in your environment. It's okay to wrap a Telerik button with your custom pieces that need to be in there, and then make that thing deterministic with all the things that should be in every button, and do that early in your application, because going back and adding those on every touch and every gesture and everything, it's a lot harder than working up that pattern and then do like everybody does and copy paste it everywhere. Do it early. So we can now, I'm going to spin past this though, because we're going to imagine that it didn't hit that we have a surprising binding context, right? So if it wasn't getting there, we'd have here, we see that we have Fred right now, it's not assigned. You can hover over this, he knows he's a button, but we haven't assigned it yet. So F10, and we know that F10's not null. Okay, F6, so the binding context happens to be binding context lost page view model, right? And then F10 again, this is the hard assigned one, and then you can examine that guy. Does he have that command, right? Here's where we'd find out if it was set to private or something. If it wasn't in scope, then it would be on your view model. You just read it. It's there. Why is it not there? Well, it's because you generated it, and the thing generated the thing as by default private. That's, it happens. When you generate the signature, I don't write all that stuff out anyway. But if it's not there when you expect it to be, this is how you find it out. You're going to go first set yourself a clicked so that you can get a hold of the object that's happening before any action happens, right? And that might mean that you have to disconnect your command. That command's firing early, he's throwing errors, it ain't working, right? You might need to park the command and just get to the click, right? To bury through those. That would, I mean, just now coming to that conclusion, but that's what's good about this interactive format. So that's good advice, is that when you are looking for something and you're having trouble even getting to the clicked, it might be because it's running a command and crashing that before it's ever running a clicked. So, and it could be any event or command or binding on that control. I mean, we're talking about a button here, but it could be a custom control, and God knows what's underneath the covers. I mean, they're getting it done, right? So, no telling, bets are off. And so this is how you're able to find that out, even though you don't own that control. However, brings us to the next section, if you will. I advocate for putting this little button on your toolbar. It's the Just My Code toggle. And you can just with the right click, customize, and I just added the command that you can get to from searching. Let's see, just my toggle, just my code, that command. You can maybe show how I get my hotkeys created on there or whatever. But either way, when you press this toggle just my code, you're saying in my output here, see I have this thing that says external sources?
Yeah.
That will show you all of the third-party libraries and whatnot in there. If you, let's see, now modules without sources. See, I could jump into Prism DLL right here, and I think, well, some of these you might not be able to jump into. Let's see. So when you hit toggle, well, if you have the source server link pointed to the Microsoft code and these other NuGet sources and whatnot, you can even get into those, which did not give you the PDB files in the first place. But most third-party libraries, like you've purchased to work with that API, they're going to show up in here if you toggle just my code so that it's off, so that you don't have the just my code. Now it will step through, like let's say F8. Let's see, if I F8 through, I can click the button again here.
So toggling that will turn all that off, so you don't see them.
Right. Well, now check this out with this little button up here. This little arrow is pointed sideways like this. Yeah. This will synchronize this to the source in your Solution Explorer. So this right here, I happen to be in routed event handlers deep down in .NET MAUI stuff, like right after it runs the exception helpers and the do. I don't know. But that's how you get down in there, and you can baby step like with an F8 key, deep. And so that finished that. I suppose it finished with a return 0, awesome. Which means no problem. But like if you're dealing with, say, a scanning library in .NET MAUI, that definitely could help you step through and like find out that they are going off the rails in something. Maybe because you don't have a parameter filled out and it's an optional parameter. You're like, oh, well, if I only knew that, I have that right here. I'll just give that to you. And so even though you can't change that code, sometimes it can help you over a hump, especially if it's a iOS release only problem. Okay, we're going to pick back up with some additional XAML debugging techniques for .NET MAUI, especially when you don't catch the binding change in the XAML when something changed in your C# and you'd like to catch it before you get all the way to release. So one of the tricks is to add the hook for catching those XAML binding failures, live or otherwise, in your app XAML CS. That's just where you put it. I'm going to paste it here, and then we'll talk through it. Oop, that's not it. This one, there it is. Apply that. Okay. Essentially what we've done is we've hooked up this XAML binding failed event, and in that event, we just have some convenient captures for the information that's available to you. It's not always available, depends on the error that's happening there, but you can see we try to capture the line number, the source URI, that it gives you the file name if it's not just injected or written from code behind, then it can know that it actually came from a XAML file. This binding EX, there's a couple variations on this type, and as Visual Studio kind of expands its capabilities there, I kind of expect there to be some additional casts to that sometimes come through. In fact, I think I have experienced some. I just can't say for certain what they are. But when you hover over this type of E, you might find that it has more than one. It might inherit from binding error events. So you could cast it to something that has some extra information on it. But the main thing is that when you, especially now, remember when those are bubbling up from the platform, when they're bubbling up from the platform code, but it was caused by a XAML something, then sometimes you have that platform failure information in that package. But you're going to need to, you'll see that problem, and then you can hover over this object to determine what type you should cast it to. Yeah, well, we might see that, and maybe not. I don't know. It's a little bit advanced. The main thing is, though, that you get to see the line and the page and the property that was blowing up for you before, before it gets out and causes, more havoc. So it's maybe not 100% reliable. I mean, it's not going to catch every type of failure, but it's definitely going to clean up most of the ones that are, I don't know, like you've blown an output parameter so that now it's returning an object type that's not the type for that converter or that object control type. Say it needs a Boolean for visibility or something, and you're handing it a complex type, and it's like, I don't know what to do with this. And those, instead of failing silently, which they sometimes do, you'll get a breakpoint here. And if it is going to tank the app, you're probably going to know another way. This is how it's going to come to you, is another way. But these catch a lot of silent fails where, I don't know, say you've tested past a page and it seemed to work. It works fine before. Testers have tested it. And now there's a problem in one of the bindings, and some field somewhere is not showing up. But all the developers seen that page like 1,000 times. They're just zipping right past it, so they don't notice that the disclaimer is missing. Might be really important to have that disclaimer on there, and yet nobody noticed it disappeared. But this right here says, it's now you're sticking the object in me. I can't take an enum. I'm a string. And that will, maybe solve that hypothetical for you. So in this case, this catch right here, this empty catch, is what will actually, prevent your release mode from totally tanking on what would have been a blank field. But you're going to get a chance to log it something, on the way. And we'll give one here and give a quickie break. It's pretty simple. Every one of those, like when I steal a curly brace. Oh no, that removes it from a binding. let's see. If it went to a source that wasn't there, type that's not right, that's another way we could break it easy. I bet it won't be hard. Let's see. On the way, on the way. Yeah, there we go. So we were going to go to, let's see. Any binding anywhere would be fine to break. Let's break one here. Let's go to pick. Oh, these are item templates. Every one of those is a binding. So let's just pick the first one here. Should take me to the item template. It is. Here's the label. What if title ain't there? See what happens. Do I get it? That did not throw me one. That's not sufficient to cause that kind of error. Oh, I haven't put a breakpoint in over there. Ha! Oh, yeah. Okay. So let's put a breakpoint in it and go back over there. Let's see now. This one. Put it back in. Save it. Okay, now they came back. Now we'll take that E again. Yes. See, so that silent fail is now giving me a chance. And let's see, let's F10 into this and see how good of information it gave me. Did not know the line number. Okay. Does not know. We just did this live with hot reload. So there's a possibility that this, right. Yeah. Let's run this again and let's see if we just deduce something about what information they can give you on that. Oh, that's not going to work. Just, hang on. Oh, now it stopped because it knows that's.
It knows that
because well, here's what you do to get around that so we can fake it, right? If you don't have a data type, it'll be happy.
It doesn't know it's there,
right? That's the case if somebody has moved or whatever the data type. KC, there we go. Park that guy, and now he shouldn't care. Oh, okay. The modern source generation thing that's going on now is because I'm asking for this thing to be compiled. He's done it anyway. See, he's checking that when he's being compiled anyway. So I might, I don't know. I don't want to try to make it an uncompiled page just to show that. I think what I can do though is I can do it at runtime because you can set bindings at runtime and things like that. There's could be lots of reasons why a thing would blow up right on that line. So let's see if see if it will tell me this time with the breakpoint in there the first time. Back. Yeah. Unfailing out. What's failing out? Description not found on.
No, why that fail?
Wasn't a problem before. A sample launch H1. Oh, it has title because the default binding context is the page or something, some other thing, right? Not the page, the view model. And so title happens to match, but the other property doesn't. So it's not going to let me get away with parking this. Well, that's good. What we've shown is good. Is that they are getting much better. At Shift C, there we go. At blocking those mistakes. Let's go to data type. There. One more. There it goes. Awesome. Hit the play. He'll let me break it now. Maybe have a better example. When you ask for a referenced key that is not in the dictionary, keys are string bound.
Yeah.
So it can't stop you at compile time. That's a better example. Let me hit the, let's see, we were right here. We just went to let's see, Control Home, Control F, Shift, oops, Shift F key. Do we have any? Oh, X colon key. That is in, we have the missing converter page. Let's go there. So the missing converter page. Oh, is it missing already? Oh. Missing converter page, and do you just die? No, that was just Visual Studio giving us the business. So now with the missing converter page, this has a key reference, and this reference here is to a Boolean to color converter thing, and he happens to be, where is it used? There it is. Let's make this bigger. There we go. And make this smaller. All right. So when this converter is being used to set the background color on this border, let's see, which border are we talking about? The one that wraps around. Since I want to know where that is, I'm going to break this binding right there temporarily. Look over here. I'll look for where that string format converter is. There it is. It's on the green button. It's on the green button. So when I go over here, put that back. Okay, so the green button, his background color of being green or whatever is this converter. And when this key, this static resource, which is referred to by key right here, when that thing is wrong, he should throw over there in that other place. Yes.
There you go.
Good example there, because the compiler can never know that a key is wrong by a string. So now this should give me a line number and source code and stuff we can examine here. Come on. What? Okay, let's see. Maybe this is just the wrong name here. Okay, we have a binding. Source is missing converter page. And let's see, intensity titles. Oh, that's the page. Target. This is the background color property. Where's my
one more? It's not target?
No, this is this XAML source. It just doesn't have the XAML source info filled out. Sounds like a .NET MAUI bug. I have seen that a lot. I mean, filled out properly, where it gives you the line numbers and stuff, and I'm not sure why it's not giving me that right now. I'm going to say that since that is not there, and we're used to that being there, I'm going to chalk it up to .NET. So when we get to the binding itself, the most important thing is, it's telling me that on this page, this particular page, there is a border control, see this border, whose background color is blowing up. So that tells me literally which control that I'm looking for. It's a border, even if I don't know for sure which border is the one that's blowing up. At least I know one of those borders, his binding is messing up. Let's see. I don't think it gives me any other information. It might tell me what I'm coming from. There you go. And it tells me that there's a border bound to is surf report clean that's blowing up. I'm going to have to triangulate it a little bit there, but we know that if we do a find on is surf report clean without the quotes, Hit the escape key, Control Shift F to get my find box. I just paste. Come on, they don't let me paste it in there directly. Paste it in there and find all of those. It's probably a very short list. So here we've got in the converter page, there's several things it's bound to. One is a switch, one is text, the other one is background color. There you go. So we have this one that says background color here. This must be the one. Took me right back to where I'm missing the O, missing the R. So the navigation errors in Prism, the way you catch them, because they don't throw an error for you a lot of times. If it was just a matter of the page not being able to be instantiated or the view model not coming up all the way, the intention is that it would just stay at your page and tell you why it didn't work. But you have to declare a receiver variable to catch that information. So where most people just say navigate async and they call the thing and off it goes, right? And that works. But when it doesn't work, it comes back and it returns a value to that await. And so you can examine that. Mostly it's not going to help you other than trying to log something, because it's not going to dig you out of a hole in a release mode. That page, you expected it to work and it ain't working. You know, so, but at least it prevents just logging to try to find out what the problem was. So what I've done here is on the launch, oh, it came up, so it was fine like that. So the launch page, sample launch page, okay, in the view model for the command for that guy, okay, where's he at? Right here. We're going to put a breakpoint right here, and let's see, first show you what it works, what it's like when it works, right? Let's just take the binding basics page. That was working fine. It comes to our command. Here's where I said, you just go to a var, but just grab that thing, whatever comes back. And if we F10 on that, we get a Prism navigation result. I suppose if it was a long running navigation or something, there is a method so that you can set up for canceling navigation. Probably should never need that. Hopefully you code your way around it where that's not a problem. Here's where the exception would have been given to you that you can fully examine, but we don't have one, right? And so success is true, and you can use that in an if statement to carry on or log or whatever from there. So let's see. So like, I suppose it could be canceled equals true and success, or canceled, you know, whatever your logic happened to be there. But in this case, let's go ahead and just spin through, and now let's make it not work once. It's a good way to make it not work. Okay, we're going to go to binding basics page. I go solution to binding basics page, XAML. All right, I'm not going to be able to do this straight from XAML. I'm going to have to break it here. So I'm going to say, let's say, oh, yeah, just to reliably break it. Now, what happens is sometimes if you got a control, it's not doing something just right, especially like a bool value that's bound to a view model thing that goes null on you, initialize component will fail. You'll get an error right here. Like initialize component will fail, just outright. And so that'll throw an error that will be caught by Prism. Now, in this case, I think what I'm going to do is just divide by 0, or what? What's a good, trying to think, yeah, let's just make it simple. Let's just throw something. So throw new system dot sure, let's see, application exception, argument exception. Let's say that. And we'll say hey man, the XAML template blew up. let's say we were going to template the page and we were going to set the content template for the page on opening or something. We just, for whatever reason, we blew it up right there. And it would show. Normally, like if you didn't catch this thing, right, he's going to attempt that navigation and then just fall right out of that because Prism is not going to actually bubble that error up. It's not going to actually crash your app. And so yeah, it would just, you hit the button, and there again, your command was supposed to take you somewhere and it didn't do anything. You chase it through the command to make sure the command's working. Oh no, all that's working. I get down to the navigate async and I run that command and it just doesn't do anything. It's because you're not returning the value in order to see it. Wasn't one failed? What is? Oh, I'm missing a semicolon. Whoopsie. Problems in third-party components a lot of times boil up there.
Yeah.
Because it's on their instantiation as they're put into the tree and they have some bindings on them. And if they aren't protected against those bindings or throw binding failures instead, then yeah, it'll take it down. Oh, and I'm dying. Why did that not go? Output. Clear that. Skip loading. Come on, do it. Oh, it is. There again, just give it a second time. So now let's make sure I'm right. We're going to navigate to binding basics. We're ready to throw an error. Okay, so we hit binding basics, F10 through this, or F5, right? It will throw the error, and it's set to, I have all exceptions turned on right now, so it's showing me this.
Yeah.
Normally you wouldn't see this green one here, right? And so then you would come over here, rep val though was false. Success is false. And so then let's see what do we got for goods in here. At resolving the page, what's he say? So it's most likely a result of invalid XAML or other initialization exception. It really doesn't tell you that much there, but when you hover over this and you drill in a little further, it's going to give us the line. Let's see, stack trace right there on, no, wait a minute, the inner exception. You want the stack trace on the inner exception. Where did it go? Stack trace on the, oh, it's underneath me. There it is. At create page. Okay, so that's on initialized. I think it should give me deeper than that. Let me see what happens there. Drill a little more. Exception, inner exception. Oh, the inner exception has an inner exception. Yeah, there you go. So when you get down to there, set resolved. Still not there. It says create view. Okay, it's down, 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 to down. I guess I'll follow it all the way down to the inner. Steep as it goes. Oh, there we go. Yep. There's the real inner. Hey man, the XAML template blew up. So I suppose it's drill baby drill. But where this one is, where you get all the way down in there, it should give me the line. Come on, tell me that line number. Page resolve. No, it still didn't give me that. I'm not looking in the right spot. Let me try one last time. A feeling. So inner exception. Now we know that that's the one. And Don't enter exception, target site. No, that's as close as it gets. You just would have to find that. That's interesting. It did not give me as much detail as I expected there. At create page. There. Create from page, process navigation. Well, yep. I guess that would be a little bit more spelunking, but most of the time, if it says anything about the XAML was not good, you're going to look at that part of the the initializations as those come up. But the most important thing is that no matter what that fail is, it's going to be presented right here on your return value coming off the navigation.
Geeky apps to pro terrain, Maui run sweet, no need explain. On the net Maui beach we surf that code, every commit another open road. Share the vibe, deploy the dream, island devs on the streaming team and up. Push that scene. When do we shine, bruh? You know that power good. See you in the next build. Same swell next way.